Happy Thanksgiving, and it's Throwback Week here at footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you an NFL Week 12 preview between the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Redskins.
This week versus the Dallas Cowboys, I look for the Washington Redskins to make the game a horizontal game. That means getting Robert Griffin III out on the perimeter. It gives him a two-way go. He can throw it to the guy that's right in front of him or downfield, or he can take off and run. And most importantly, it wears down the big guys of the Dallas Cowboys, those guys up front, and it also neutralizes the pressure of the outside linebackers. And as far as the passing game is concerned, I would always keep Santana Moss on the interior in your twin set. So if you have two wide receivers to one side, which could be Hankerson and also Josh Morgan, you want to keep Santana Moss on the interior, allow the big guy to take away the coverage, and allow guys like Santana Moss and Aldrick Robertson to get the football in their hands quickly and get up the field and make one miss. Defensively, I'm looking at both inside linebackers, Perry Riley and London Fletcher, as being integral parts of the game plan this week for the Washington Redskins. If you plan to stop Tony Romo in that passing game, you got to get pressure down the middle of that offensive line. So those double A-gap blitzes will be effective this week, and both guys are effective blitzers. Both guys also excel in pass coverage, in my opinion, and they both are active in the running game. So all three phases of the game, you need these linebackers to be in the mix and causing havoc. Now, in the secondary, you look at D'Angelo Hall and Josh Wilson. Both guys will have their hands full this week with Miles Austin and Dez Bryant. I would alternate their responsibilities, their coverage responsibilities. Sometimes you want Hall on Bryant, sometimes you want him on Austin. Whatever the situation dictates, make sure you keep guys' coverage responsibilities fresh, and that way they can be most effective. Now let's move over to the Cowboys in this matchup, and we know the Washington Redskins will send a lot of pressure, a lot of different exotic blitzes at this Cowboys offense, but I think they could game plan for it this week by utilizing the backfield. You look at Lawrence Vickers, the fullback, and Felix Jones or Lance Dunbar, whoever's going to be back there 100%, as key cogs in that game plan by not allowing them to pick up the blitzer. You want to send those guys out in the flats. You want to throw off of the edge rusher, off of the free blitzer. That's going to neutralize that rush. It's going to also give you that half a second you need to hit big plays downfield to Dez Bryant and Miles Austin. So not blocking the free blitzer, not blocking the outside rush, just swinging those backs out, keeps those guys at bay and helps you out offensively as a whole. Now on the defensive side of the football, if you're cornerbacks Morris Claiborne and Brandon Carr, you want to play off a little bit this week versus the Redskins wide receivers. You want to sit back and then react. You don't want to get into a man press or zone press type of situation because RG3 can't take off right behind you. And being back off the line of scrimmage, let's say 5 to 7 yards, gives you the advantage to squat and also wall off those wide receivers and force them to the outside. Now up front, I look at their linebackers. They run a 3-4 defense as well. Bruce Carter and company, Ernie Sims, being a factor in the running game. They're going to have to make sure they fill the gaps against the run in order to get the Redskins off the field. If they can't do that, then the Redskins can have their way with this defense. So Bruce Carter and Ernie Sims playing a huge role this week for the Cowboys. X factor in this ball game will be the third down defense of the Washington Redskins. You got to get Romo on the ground if you have him in your grasp, and you also have to get the ball back for your ball control offense. For the Cowboys, the X factor has to be the running game. Whether it's Lance Dunbar or Felix Jones, you have to have some type of balance in order to be effective versus the Redskins' aggressive style defense. Let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game, and the Cowboys come in banged up on the offensive line and in the backfield. So if they can get those things squared away, they can have a chance versus Washington. But the Redskins come in at full strength, in my opinion, at the skill positions. Defensively, can they get off the field? That's the biggest question I have going forward. Since it's Throwback Week at Football Game Plan, we're going to give a shout out to some throwback players for each team. Tony Dorsett was one of the greatest running backs of all time, played with the Cowboys from 77 to 87. This guy rushed for over 12,000 yards and 72 touchdowns in the silver and blue. And you look at the Redskins, big fan of Gary Clark. You can make an argument that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. He was the Redskins' deep threat during those glory years and averaged over 16 yards a catch, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro. The Cowboys in this game, despite coming in having questions on the offensive line and in the backfield, I think the passing game will be the reason why they win. Going to 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, being multiple in their formations, I think that will give them an advantage over the Redskins, who will be forced to play 3rd and 4th corners going against the Cowboys' 3rd and 4th receivers, and I think that's the advantage that the Cowboys have. So I look for them to win the ball game. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Cowboy fan forums and Redskin fan forums for always showing football game plan support.